Today we make 5 cocktails from Jasper LeFranc that uses basic stock mix, also known as Jasper Secret Mix. This is essentially a pre-made batch of lime juice, sugar, Angostura, and nutmeg. And if you want to see how to make this mix, check out the video that's right here and in this episode's description, where I make this mix and use it in the 2 most famous cocktails from Jasper LeFranc, Jasper's Jamaican Punch and Jasper's Rum Punch. Additionally, if you do not want to make this mix, which yields you almost a full 750 milliliter bottle, you can still make a close version to this by using just 1 ounce of lime juice, half an ounce of a rich 2-to-1 simple syrup, and 6 dashes of Angostura bitters, and some nutmeg. So if you don't want to go to all the trouble to, make the full mix, but want to try some of the cocktails today, and you don't want to make all 5 of them, then you can just use that as a simpler way to make a smaller batch of this mix. Now, Jasper LeFranc was a very famous bartender from the Bay Roc Hotel in Montego Bay, Jamaica. And in the early 1970s, he shared many recipes with Trader Vic editor and co-author Shirley Sarvis. Today, we're exploring 5 of these additional cocktails that include the Basic Mix, or Jasper's Mix, Bay Roc Special, Jasper's Arawak Cocktail, Jasper's Rum Cocktail, the Mule Shoe, and the Witch Doctor. We're going to start with the Bay Roc Special, and this one calls for a light Jamaican rum, and many of the drinks from Jasper LeFranc that Trader Vic shares call for a light Jamaican rum, and I have a couple of those, but I'm just not entirely sure that it meant these lighter ones and not something like Ray and Nephew. Without getting deep into this right now, light should refer to the body, so something that's light in profile and flavor, but these could have been translated incorrectly. We know Trader Vic did not get these recipes himself, but even so, I'm going to stick with what's in the book and use a lighter style Jamaican rum. But one thing that I will stray from the book on is we see another instance in the text here where it calls to shake in an electric drink mixer. And we can't shake cocktails with an electric drink mixer. You can only mix them or blend them. But to make it easier for me, I'm going to use a drink mixer. You can shake these and get the same result. We're going to start with 1 ounce of the basic stock mix, 3/4 ounces of Drambuie, and 1.5 ounces of a light Jamaican rum, we'll just strain this into a cocktail glass and garnish with a cherry. There you go, the Bay Roc Special. All right, the eponymous cocktail from the Bay Roc Hotel, Bay Roc Special. Let's try it. Cheers. Now, you at home haven't realized this yet because you haven't watched this video, but as I was going back through the cocktail list today, there's kind of like 2 cocktails today, and then somehow slight variations make 5 of them. In this one, you're getting some of that honey flavor from the Drambuie. You're getting a nice amount of tartness. It's pretty sweet. I don't want to say it's overly sweet, but that basic stock mix on its own is sweet. Plus, you're adding a sweet liqueur. The light Jamaican rum kind of gets lost. Like, it doesn't hold up as well as I thought it might. But I like that we're at least trying with Jamaican rum as opposed to using a light Puerto Rican style rum. As I have another sip now, the Jamaican flavor of that rum comes through a little more. Now, as I'm looking at these cocktails, they're almost like a little bit disappointing because they call for, 3 ingredients. But it's important to remember that basic stock mix is several ingredients on its own. It has the lime juice, it has the sugar, it has the Angostura, and it has the nutmeg. So you are imparting some acidity there, obviously, with the lime juice. Plus, you're getting Angostura and nutmeg in every single cocktail today. So that flavor comes through quite a bit. All of our cocktails today are also not served on ice, just in small cocktail glasses. So I get to use a lot of my older vintage cocktail glasses that I usually can't use because they only hold like 4 or 5 ounces. This one, the Bay Roc Special, I find to be quite good. It's a little bit on the sweet side, but I do like that the mixing of the stock, the basic stock or Jasper's mix with the honey notes from the Drambuie and also the flavor from the Jamaican rum. Next up is Jasper's Arawak cocktail. This calls for half an ounce of honey, which I just know is going to be way too sweet. So I'm going to use half an ounce of a honey syrup instead of this honey that's been diluted with water, and I'll adjust this as needed. For Jasper's Arawak cocktail, We will start with half an ounce of honey, or I'm using half an ounce of the honey mix, half an ounce of our basic stock mix, and 1.5 ounces of Myers Dark Jamaican Rum. So there you have it, Jasper's Arawak cocktail. I'm interested to see how close this will be to our last cocktail, but we are mixing it up by using actual honey instead of just Drambuie, which has that honey flavor. And then we're also using Myers Dark Jamaican Rum. I did use my Myers Select, or single barrel Select. I think it's a little bit better than the traditional Myers, but let's see how it holds up here. Cheers. It's far too sweet straight away. So if you're making this, you want to use less honey here. The dark rum, the Myers's rum with the honey and the stock mix, it really plays. There's like a hint of spice in there because of the honey and the Angostura and the nutmeg. It's the flavor of it is I think it's substantially enough different from our last cocktail to really feel different. Like if you're looking at a list of cocktails from this time period where they're almost all the same, it's different enough for me because of the rum and because of the honey. But there's too much honey. But it still comes with, like, you get the Angostura, you get the nutmeg, you get a nice tartness there from the mix. So it holds up better than I would have imagined. However, it's too sweet. But just the difference in Jamaican rum here does make quite a bit of difference. It's just heavier, richer, more molassesy, more syrupy, and overall just a little bit too sweet. All right, our next three cocktails are going to be very similar, and this one is Jasper's Rum Cocktail. It's another simple drink that calls for cherry herring, but I like the Luxardo Morlaco cherry better, so I'm going to be using that instead and for our next cocktails as well. Start with 1 ounce of our basic stock mix, 3/4 ounces of cherry herring or another cherry liqueur, 1.5 ounces of a light Jamaican rum, and there you have it, Jasper's Rum Cocktail. Let's try Jasper's Rum Cocktail. Cheers. Another slightly sweet one. I do like the change up here from using honey or honey base to the cherry herring or cherry liqueur. We're talking about cherry liqueurs. You do not want to be using the maraschino. That's not cherry flavored. That's its whole own thing. So something that has an actual cherry flavor to it. So it provides this richness to this that we're not getting because we're using a lighter rum. The light Jamaican rum probably holds up less here than it did in the Bay Roc Special. But the through line that's going to continue in all these cocktails and has so far is the basic stock mix, Jasper Secret Mix, providing that flavor of heavy amounts of Angostura bitters and also the nutmeg. So that's going to help like any cocktail, I think, that's lacking ingredients by having a whole bunch of Angostura. For me, in my opinion, I love Angostura bitters. So having a nice Angostura bitters flavor in the background helps transform it from being just like, hey, here's a modifier, here's a rum in a little cocktail glass. It really helps create something that I think each one of these looks like it might be bad, but turns out to actually have components of it that are delicious. All right, next up is the Mule Shoe, which calls for a white 151 rum. I don't have that. Diamond is the only one that I could think of off the top of my head nowadays. Back in the 1970s, they were probably using Appleton White 151, which was a thing. Now, some of you may think to use Wray and Nephew instead, but from what I've learned about Appleton 151, it was not a high ester white overproof rum. There is at least one bottle of Appleton 151 available, but I decided it wouldn't be smart to fork over $387 for this. I did consider it. If, I don't know, if 20 of you sign up for the Patreon today, I'll go get it. So let's make the Mule Shoe. Start with 1 ounce of the basic stock mix, half an ounce of triple sec, half an ounce of a cherry brandy, 1.5 ounces of a 151 rum. So there you go, the Mule shoe. All right, so this called for a triple sec and a cherry brandy. We're kind of keeping things all the same here, but I did use triple sec because you'll see it with our next cocktail why I used a generic triple sec for this. I was not excited to try this cocktail because I had 151. However, I feel like this is really going to be telling for the basic stock mix. Can it hold up? Can it overpower a relatively just hot 151? So let's try it. Cheers. Oh man, not a fan of it. It does not taste good. There is a lingering offness to it. Can't even really describe it. Up front, you do get the stock mix. You get the Angostura, you get the lime, you get the nutmeg, but it's that combination of the cherry brandy with the triple sec with that rum. It is very off. It's almost like a vegetal off-putting finish. I don't like it. It's not the worst thing I've ever had. There's too much of that flavor of that rum to make this work. Now, a different 151, I think if you used Hamilton, it would probably be great. You were trying that, but that'd be a totally different thing than what they were going for with a 151 white rum. One final cocktail from Jasper LeFranc, and it's the Witch Doctor. And this is basically that Mule shoe that we just had. However, we're swapping out the triple sec for Cointreau, which, yes, I know they're basically the same thing, but it calls for Cointreau specifically, and then a light Jamaican rum instead of our white 151 rum. Let's make the Witch Doctor, starting with 1 ounce of our basic stock mix, half an ounce of cherry brandy, half an ounce of Cointreau, and 1.5 ounces of a light Jamaican rum. So there you go, the Witch Doctor. Before we get to this one, there are only a couple cocktails from Trader Vic that he shared from Jasper LeFranc that I didn't get to today. One of them is a frozen drink. Another one is a Jasper's Jamaican, which doesn't call for the stock mix. So I wanted to use just the stock mix today. And then the final one is called the Mona Cane, and it uses half an ounce of Ramona liqueur, which is a discontinued rum liqueur that I have never had. So I didn't want to try to recreate that. I don't know much about it. Maybe like a rum honey thing. That would make sense. Probably like Drambuie. I don't know if that's true or not, but a lot of the same. But let's find out with some small tweaks if the Witch Doctor with Cointreau, which probably doesn't change it too much, but just swapping out the rums here, if that makes a big difference in this combination of ingredients. So, cheers. 10 times better. You can get the rum, and you can still taste the Cointreau. You can taste the cherry liqueur, and you get the stock mix. Not too much more advanced than that. I think it's very good. Each one of these today leaned sweet. The cocktails I made with the stock mix before, they were also sweet. And I double checked when I made that stock mix. I followed the recipe from Trader Vic and the recipe from the Vintage Cocktails book. They're the same. So it's about 12 ounces of lime juice plus 1.5 cups of sugar. It doesn't mean the mix is too sweet. It's just these proportions that are being called for using a full ounce of it ends up being sweet because you're using an ounce of it often plus something else that's sweet and then not much spirit. So these are all going to be on the sweeter side. Were they like that at the Bay Roc Hotel? I mean, we have no way of knowing. We're following these recipes with the best ingredients we have available now. and following the mixes and everything the same. So it should be pretty much the same that they served back in the 1970s. So there you go, 5 cocktails from Jasper LeFranc using his secret mix, his not so secret mix, his basic stock mix from the Trader Vic book. I think my favorite is, surprising me, is the Bay Roc Special. That one just has a little bit more simplicity to it. And I think just the proportions, the spec of that one are better with a little bit less stock, more spirit, less liqueur as well than the other ones. But all of them, have something interesting going on, except for maybe the Mule issue. I would definitely skip that one unless you want to swap in the 151 rums here. But if you're interested in trying Jasper's mix, I would suggest to start with the drinks covered in the other video. Jasper's Planter's Punch, Jasper's Jamaican Rum Punch. Those are delicious, and that can be easily adjusted to add more water or ice or more rum if you find that those are too sweet. But these are a little different because we're serving them up in small cocktail glasses, and they all have a little thing to them where they fall flat, but you can adjust them. But if you're looking for ways to use that Jasper's mix, then here are 5 more cocktails for you. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like below, consider subscribing to this channel, and if you want to support this channel more, check out my Patreon page. Otherwise, see you in the next one.